Okay, welcome to another coding challenge. You can download the requirements for this coding challenge, or you can read them here on the screen. The PDF file is included with it. Read the instructions very closely, do the coding challenge, and I'll come back in a moment and review it with you. Okay, congratulations on completing your coding challenge. Let's go over it. I'm going to create another script file here. Add. We'll go down here. Inner functions. We'll add it below this. Add new item. Script file. We'll call it coding challenge review. So here's our script file. I'm going to be using some stuff in system on this, so I'm going to open system. And if we read the requirements, well, one of the things we have to do is we have to return a string result. So let's make a string result discriminated union. So here's our discriminated union. It has a success of string and a failure of string. Now let's create the function. So the function's pretty straightforward. You could have done this in any of a number of ways. I chose to do it very simply with just if statements. If you chose to do something fancier, maybe with pattern matching or something, if you know a little bit more about pattern matching, that's fine too, as long as your function works and meets the requirements, you're okay. But this is how I implemented it. I created a function called testString. It takes a success function, a failure function, and a string. It first checks to see that the string is not null or empty. If it is null or empty, it calls the failure function and sends back the message string must not be null or empty. Otherwise, if that's good, then we know we can safely call upon that string functions without throwing exceptions. And so it asks, is the string length greater than or equal to 10 and the string length is less than or equal to 20, then it calls the success function. Otherwise, it calls the failure function and says this: the string must be at least 10 characters long, but not more than 20 characters long. That's pretty straightforward. And then we make up a function to call upon it using inner functions. Use test string takes a string. It has an inner function, success function, that takes a string and it returns that string as a success. Otherwise, it calls failure. Or otherwise, the failure function here takes a string and passes that string to failure, and we call test string with the success function, the failure function, and the string. Conversely, you could have done this as partial application, as I demonstrated earlier, very simply. Use test string 2 would have the same success and failure function. We just wouldn't pass an argument in, and we would get that back. So let's test this. I'll just highlight it all and hit Alt Enter. We've got to send open in. I missed that part. Let's do that. Now it took it. So we have our type. We have our test string function. It takes a string, success function, failure function, and a string, and it returns a generic A. And then we've got our use string and our use test string and use test strings 2. So let's write some tests real quick. We'll use test string first. This we'll just say 2 short. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, that's too short. And string must be at least 10 characters long. Let's send in a null. Use test string with a null. String must not be null or empty. Let's send in an empty string. Well, we'll leave null there. Let's send in an empty string. Must not be null or empty, and that one's too short. Let's do one that's the correct length now. We'll say not too short. This should work. Success, not too short. Use test string. Way too long of a string to pass this test successfully. I believe that's longer than 20. String must be at least 10 characters long, but not more than 20 characters long. So that one was too long. And there it is. There's an answer, not the answer. Let's be clear about that. This is an answer to that set of requirements that was listed. If you did something else, as long as it works, as long as you can test it and get these results right here, then you're fine. Then you've passed the coding challenge. If it did not work like this, then something's wrong. And if you have any questions, post them in the Q&A area or go to our forum. The links are in the resource area, and post questions, post your code up, and let other people look at it. I will take a look at it, and we'll try to get you an answer and help you be successful with this coding challenge. So thanks for watching, and there will be a short quiz coming up, and then we'll be moving on to section 3. I'll see you in the next video.